David Orr, Dallas Morning News. After yesterday's game into today, some of the players are talking just about how they need to be more detailed, more professional in approach, how they were kind of getting into hero ball. Did you see elements of all that and what's happened yesterday?
I think like anything, when the result doesn't go the way you want it to go, emotions are part of our game. So expression of emotion, on Sundays always creates potential narratives and so forth. But based off our work today, what needed to be said has been said, and we're on to the Giants. We put in first, second, and third down today, so it's been a full day.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. What needed to be said today in your mind?
Well, just like anything. I mean, I'm not going to get into specifics or this isn't show and tell. It's about being accountable and we didn't have a whole lot of time to spend on corrections, so we did that in the beginning part of it. And we had to move right into the Giants. So, every time you compete, there's plenty of corrections. We obviously had too many, but we were still in a position to win the game. So, and that's something that will not get lost. As part of the evaluation because it's factual, and the things that you look at, just the one statistic that stands out for over top of all the other ones where the execution was not in our favor. We were +2 in the big play category, and so that tells you, puts you, you're in position to win a game. We got to make one more of those big plays.
Offensively, with how you guys played for most of the fourth quarter, you're in a 2-minute situation. Considering the slow starts, do you ever think like that's a way to kind of jumpstart to open up that way, or can you go tempo that?
No, I mean, we know huddle offense is, we've done it in the past. I've done it throughout my whole career. But, that's not where we are right now. We need to, the effort's there. The execution is what we'll be focused on.
John Machota with The Athletic. When we talked to Jordan Lewis today, he mentioned over and over again about having to be more detailed on defense. When you watch the game over again, just on the defensive side, is it the small detail thing, or what do you think it is?
Well, it's totally small details. It's all the way through the team. I mean, the defense had, more of it than you like. But yeah, the details. Knowing the details breeds confidence. Confidence makes you play faster, keeps you connected. So we need to do that throughout our whole team. So we got work to do.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. We've talked about the details the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Is it a little frustrating that we're continuing to have these discussions with you?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you got to look at what they are. Continued mistakes are the things you have to definitely eliminate, especially if it's the pre-snap penalties. Those. To start the game the way we did. That's a kick in the ass. You take the ball for a reason. And you got 3 penalties. You had obviously on the kickoff and then 2 on the first drive. So that's not the way you want to start a football game. And that's so. It's those things that you got to make sure you stay on top of. We're gonna have some bumpy times. That's part of just where we are as far as new defense. Young players playing, and but we need to be better. And we had a chance to win that game. The slow start did not help.
Bill and Carson, where do they? You got a short week. What do they say?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll give you a better idea. I thought they both did what they needed to do today, but yeah, it's we'll know more tomorrow with both those guys.
Saad Yusuf, The Athletic. Mike, where do you stand kind of on pre-snap motion offensively? What does it do? What advantage can it give the offense when you do implement it, and how much do you prefer to have that in your offense?
It's part of the winning the pre-snap potentially. Whether you're trying to change challenge the odd discipline of the defense. Create landmarks. Get in reduced splits, get out of reduced splits. Yeah, there's benefits to it. I think like anything, you have to have a menu of a number of things in this league, especially over a 17-game period.
We talked to you last year after the San Francisco game about CeeDee Lamb and his body language and stuff. I know you asked about it last night, but just the next day, do you have any conversations with him after that? The
only thing I'm worried about, not worried about, the only thing I'm focused on our passing game is we got to get a completion percentage up. So it starts with the play caller. You throw the ball 51 times and you're not north of 60%. That's where my focus is, and that's where everybody's focus needs to be.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. I know you said you guys don't have a ton of time for corrections this week, but with Jordan Lewis talking about details, Michael Parsons last night talking about accountability, how do you kind of work those conversations in this?
Pretty dramatic there, Nick. I tell you, you must practice that one. Jeez, I mean, well, hey, Thursday schedule. I mean, that's what we're on. I mean, it's we didn't win the game, so I think that's part of where we are. I mean, so. Yeah, I think they do a good job of answering your questions. It's emotional after the game, so I'm not ever going to referee emotion on the field or after a game.
Aaron.
Aaron Kazanitz, Lone Star Live. Miles Smith played a whole ton in there. I think he had a career high in snaps. How would you evaluate the defensive line in general, and why do you think he?
I can't give you real evaluations because actually we didn't go through a grading evaluation today, so I don't have the one-on-one evaluations that. So, but yeah, I thought Mozzie, especially the week that he went through, for him to go out there and play as much as he did, I was proud of him.
Ed. Mike Edwarder, WFAA. Given what you've seen from the three running backs, what's your inclination as far as this being a week you might look at Dalvin Cook?
I'm not here to make any decisions or proclamations on what's next. So, like I said, we got first, second, and third down in.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. I think you've talked us to in the past about getting off to quick starts kind of being on the menu of prep during the week. I just wondered, after two slow starts in a row, is there any feeling on your part of kind of re-emphasizing that and how much you do that during a week, or I guess a short week too?
Re-emphasize over how we already do it, or?
Yeah, I mean, you re-emphasize. Hey,
I mean, it's a short week. We have a session on, we call it Fast Start and Furious Finish Friday, so it's an emphasis on the beginning of the game, how we feel the beginning of the game is going to go. We spend a lot of time at the end of the game. We put a lot of time invested in situations, so we won't have a traditional Friday this week, so we got to build that into the Saturday type schedule, which would be Wednesday. So. The Thursday schedule puts you on a different schedule. So, but we'll still emphasize it.
Garrett
Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, you talked about during the draft sort of building out your team with the idea of who you're going to see regularly, facing Dexter Lawrence and the Giants D-line with a younger O-line. What's the challenge of that, and how are you preparing those guys for that?
Well, I mean, Dexter's a huge challenge regardless of who you line up with as far as youth, in particular with our young guys. So yeah, I mean it's. A lot of respect for him. He's played very well so far. You can see it. He's a presence in there. He demands, double teams and so forth. But I think their line as a whole, I've been impressed with so far.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio on the Fan. Short week. It is a familiar opponent, but they do have a new defensive coordinator. So what kind of wrinkle is that? And I know you went against him with the Titans. Is there anything to pull from that?
Yeah, definitely. Kellen called it back then, but it's different. It's something that in the summer we talked about. You got 3 games to look at. They've all been different, frankly, the way he's called it. So that has stood out. But yes, we've done some historical work on him.
Mike Licky played 30 snaps yesterday, and some of it was in protection and things like that. What do you like about him in protection and also as a guy who catches the ball for you?
I think Hunter's a fine football player. He's really earned these opportunities. He's a 4-down player. He's not just a fullback. He can be a one-back. He can be a 3 surface player, 4 surface player. I mean, he had a big catch, on the keep there on 3rd and 1. So he's earned those opportunities, and I think that has been reflected in his play time.
Coach, Aisha Morrison, DallasCowboys.com. You mentioned the lack of completion percentage on the offensive side of the ball. That you need to get that up. The Ravens secondary, real feisty, play a lot of press as well. With the completion percentage being down, the separation was difficult for the receivers to separate it sometimes. How do you take on that responsibility as a play caller? Do you feel like you need to, in those moments, do things to help those guys, or you feel like that's delegated to them winning their matchups?
Oh yeah, I mean that's all part of it. You have a game plan, you have in-game decisions. We went to the 2-minute they're in the fourth quarter. So yeah, definitely those are the things you're talking about there during the course of the game, and that's part of the adjustment.
When you look at your team right now, do you have to say, do they understand what's happening, or do you have to just say, look, we're in a 2-game losing streak, we got to get our act together, or do they know we got to get our act together? How much do you kind of talk to them about those types of things?
Yeah, I talk to them every day. I have a team meeting every day. I have an opportunity to obviously talk to the offense more. But yeah, we understand where we are. We're 1-2. Yeah, got our first division game in front of us.
All righty. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.